Well, good Monday morning, New York Jet fans and NFL fans. It is December 6th, 2021, 7:08 a.m., and we are one game away from completing week 13. Unbelievable. Week 13, we're in December of the 2021-2022 season. Um, Before we get to yesterday's review of the Jets home versus the Eagles, let's take a look at some games around the league. We're going to go starting with Cowboys and the Saints, which was Thursday night. Obviously, Cowboys won 27-17. They are 8-4 in the division. The Saints dropped to 5-7. Saints still kind of in it, um, but the Cowboys keeping pace and keeping their lead on first place for now. The Giants go down to Miami after the Giants beat the Eagles last week. Um, Daniel Jones was ruled out due to injury. I believe Mike Glennon was the quarterback. He there was a crazy stat that they said on WFN this morning. He was 11 of 12 on his first 12 passes. The only incomplete pass was actually an interception, and then he went 12 of 23, I think, the rest of the way. So he was like 24 of 40 something, but he hit his first 11 passes in a row, or first 11 out of 12, and then after that only completed 12 the rest of the game. Um, So the Dolphins win their fifth in a row. They are 6-7. They are very much alive in this wild card, and they win 20-9. Uh, New York football is just very boring right now, even if you're a fan of the team. The Colts take care of business in the Texans, a team they should have beaten, a team they have beat 31 to nothing in Houston. Colts go to 7-6. Houston falls to 2-10, and the Colts very much alive in the wild card race as well, and possibly for first place. I'm gonna skip that game for now because I don't want to go back to it. Cardinals take care of the Bears. They are 10-2. Bears are 4-8, 33 to 22, and right now to me the Cardinals are the favorite to go to the NFC Championship game. And what I want to say about the Cardinals is that they're winning games with their top players and without. There were weeks where Kyler Murray and other players were out, and they still took care of business. So that is the mark of a good team when they could put other players in, and that scheme continues. Um, Bengals and Chargers. Chargers had a tremendous lead in this game early. Bengals come back. From what I understand, they were actually on a drive where they could have taken the lead, and Joe Burrow threw an interception return for a touchdown. Chargers never look back. They go to 7-2. I'm sorry, 7-5. The Bengals go to 7-5, and that could be a tiebreaker for some sort of playoff implications going forward. Buccaneers and Falcons and Tom Brady very productive. Gets his team to 9-3. Falcons fall to 5-7, 30 to 17. Um, and the Buccaneers and Arizona Cardinals will be battling it out for a playoff, not for a playoff spot, but maybe for home field advantage. I believe Arizona does have the tiebreaker. I think they beat them. Um, let's see. The Washington football team very quietly get to 500 to 6-6. They beat the Raiders 17-15. The Raiders go to 6-6. I think I actually called that the Reds. Sorry, the Washington football team would win this game. Um, they have a shot to catch up to Dallas um, with 5 games left and 2 games behind Dallas. I don't know if they face each other again, but this can come down to it. They are very much alive in some sort of playoff race, and it makes it interesting. Good for Washington, even though I know they won the division last year. So, you know, Steelers and Ravens. This is just the Big Ben um, retirement tour. Well, this is a home game for them. They are victorious over the Ravens, 20-19. A little something at the end of the game, Ravens get the ball. They tie the game. I'm sorry, they get to 20-19 with a touchdown, and instead of going for a tie with no time left on the clock or very little time left on the clock, they go for two for the win. Some say it's a gutsy call, a ballsy call, because the win gets them to 9-4. Um, to me, you got to play the smart call. Listen, the Steelers are not going anyplace with their record in the AFC. You get the tie, go into overtime, and go for the win. You don't go for the win there on 2-point conversion. Ironically, they did have, I believe, it was a tight end opened uh, in in um, in his route. He beat Watt off the ball. The ball hit him in the hands. He had to stretch out a little bit, and he just couldn't hold on to it. So if it works, the Harbaugh's a genius. It doesn't work, you second guessing. This is not, the Ravens are not a team that have 2 wins on the year. And say, oh, let's go for the win. No, this is a team fighting for home field advantage, which this year with the playoff format, only one team gets home field advantage, and only one team gets a bye. So that call, if it would have worked, you look back and say, "Oh my lord, that's wonderful." Now you look back and say, "How did he do that?" You go for the tie, then go for the win in overtime. So anyway, the Steelers victorious 20-19. Seahawks beat the 49ers 30-23. They go to 4-8. 49ers fall to 6-6. 49ers needed this game to keep pace for a wild card berth. They're still in the race, but 7-5 is a lot better looking in the standings than 6-6. And of course, Seattle, that gives them um, you know draft movement, as that affects the Jets with the first round. So the win kind of moves them around a little bit. Nothing is set in stone right now. I believe the Jets and Giants have the first 4 picks out of the top 10 between them, and a lot of them are stacked. So I think it's like Jets 3, Giants 4, Jets 5, Giants 6, or something like that right now, or 6 and 7. So New York will be, both teams will be busy very early in the draft. Broncos and Chiefs were last night's game to end the Sunday night slate. The Chiefs win 22-9. Pat Mahomes scored a touchdown on his feet. Bridgewater threw an interception that was brought back for a touchdown. It was tipped at the line of scrimmage late in the game, early in the fourth quarter, I should say, about 9 minutes left. So the Broncos go to 6-6, still alive. Chiefs go to 8-4. So I want to back up to Lions and Vikings, and I think I called this also. Um, I am not a Kirk Cousins fan. Um, I don't know why. I didn't like him when he was on Washington. Um, and I don't like him on the Vikings. I think he is a manageable quarterback. I think he is a younger Fitzpatrick or McCown, if you will. Um, there was a stat this morning on WFAN. 9 out of the 12 games they played have come down to the final play of the game. They've only converted on 3 of them, and I'm looking at the 2-point conversion now. And if that tight end catches the ball, he probably gets into there. He probably gets in because it looks like the DB is coming over from the side and not behind him, so he's not going to catch him. But what was I saying? Oh, so about the Vikings, and so out of 12 games, 9 come down to the final play, whether it's in regulation, overtime, whatnot. Um, 3 of the times they won. Um, 9 times they lost, and it was a overtime kick in Dallas. They said on the fan it was incomplete pass on the last play. It was an overtime kick for them to win. So yesterday, the Jet game comes to an end. The Giant game comes to an end, and I'm looking for something, and they go directly to um, Detroit, where, as you know, there was a very very tragic shooting in a school this past week. So the community, and listen, that's life. Football is not life, but the community, just in shambles. And comes down. Now Detroit has had some heartbreakers. They had a tie against the Steelers, a game they might have been able to win. A few games that came down to the final play for them. A few games that they were in early and then couldn't hold on. So this comes down. There's no time left on the clock. A few seconds left. They're down by 4, and um, you know, everybody's just waiting for that easy pass to be dropped or the quarterback to get sacked or an interception in the end zone. And as time runs out, a bullet thrown to the wide receiver, excuse me, about 4 yards into the end zone. He hauls it in, and the place just erupts. Fans are jumping up and down, hugging each other, high fiving each other. Coaches are hugging, players are hugging. Um, it was nice. Nothing against Kirk Cousins. I don't care who they would have did it against, except as long as it wasn't the Jets. But it was nice to see this team. They know they're out of it. They've lost 10 games. They've only tied a game. They already went 0-16 in their history, and they come through and they win this game. I'm happy for them. I'm happy for the team. After the game, I did not see the press conference, but I heard on WFAN this morning with Gio and Boomer um, that um, Dan Campbell, the coach, dedicated the ball to that community in which the shooting at the school took place. He read the names of the victims, so it was a nice story. Of course, um, the win doesn't take away the tragedy, but it was just nice to have a nice positive um, ending to a game. So a nice positive ending to a game. Tonight, the week 13 will end with um, Buffalo taking on the Patriots. And this game earlier in the season, probably when they made the schedule, they released it back in April. Like, oh my God, Buffalo in December, Patriots, Mac Jones, rookie quarterback. This is going to be just a easy win for Buffalo. Well, both teams now are tied basically for first place. Um, I believe Buffalo had a bye, so they have one less game played. They play each other twice between now and the end of the season, so two games between them in the next 5 weeks. Um, it's huge, and it's for first place. And Mac Jones has come along. Um, Bill Belichick could probably be coach of the year, and ironically, they said Belichick can be coach of the year and Tom Brady can be MVP, and they're not on the same team anymore. Um, but this is going to be a tremendous game tonight. It's going to be I think, a largely viewed game. The report for Buffalo's weather for tonight, this came out yesterday, is rain, wind, hail, sleet, like every type of precipitation and winds, like up to 20, 25 miles an hour. So whoever can control the ball will have the better chance. Kicking will probably be an issue, but they'll end week 13 tonight. So I'm going to segue. We're going to go kicking would probably be the issue. And yesterday, kicking was an issue for the Jets, as it has been for probably the last 3 years. And you got to go back and say, well, Adam Gase, with his teams, didn't pick good kickers, but it's just been up and down this season. Um, Early in the season, I think it was the preseason game I went to. I told the guy behind me in the warm-ups, the kicker Amendola was kicking the ball into the stands, wide right. I mean, it's just ridiculous. You get paid to kick, you get paid to catch, you get paid to pass, you get paid to block. A kicker is no different. There are makeable kicks. There are kicks that are assumed to be hit, and there are kicks that you say, "Wow, I can't believe he hit that." So they cut Amendola. They signed this young kid, 23 years old, never played an NFL game before. So to me, the first thing is, how bad was Amendola in practice this week, or was it just Coach Sala and the special teams coach wanted a change? I don't know. But game starts off, and Braxton Berrios gets a tremendous return, brings it to the 20 on the opening kickoff, and the Jets score on their first drive, and they're up 6-0. Okay. New kicker, first time going out there to kick a field goal, misses it. All right. You got jitters. Jets kick off to the Eagles. Eagles go right down the field. They score. They hit the extra point. Now they have the lead. Okay. Jets get the ball. They go right down the field. You know, Elijah Moore. You know, trying to think who else. Elijah Moore, Crowder, Coleman. I mean, it is Zach is spreading it around. Zach looks kind of poised in the pocket. Um, he looks like he's making his reads. Go down, they score a touchdown. So now it's 12-7. So now do you go for two here? No, listen. Even the commentator on the radio, on the TV said, you got to give your kicker some confidence. You don't do it now. It's too early in the game. You know, you don't take points off the board. Let them go there and kick it. Well, they took points off the board because the kicker missed the second one. So now it is 12-7. Eagles get the ball. And this is, I have to remind everybody, Minshew is the quarterback for the Eagles. He goes down the field. They score again. They kick the extra point. Now it's 14-12. Okay. Third drive. Jets get the ball. They go down the field. They score another touchdown. At this point now, Coach Salah's had enough. You know, you're on your third drive. You're in the second quarter of the game. Um, a game where right now you're basically in. Your offense is doing everything you asked them to do, and they go for two, and not even close. So three drives, 18 points, at least 3 points off the board to make it 21. And at that point, it just went downhill. The Jet defense had no answer for the Eagle offense, whether it was open receivers on third and long, whether it was running backs gaining 5-6 yards at a chop, whether it was a roughing the passer face mask on a sack, uh, hands to the face. I heard a few times. Um, Even when the game was not out of control, they called, I believe it was pass interference on Bryce Hall. The ball was underthrown. The wide receiver fell, and Bryce Hall fell in front of him. They called PI to the point where Coach Salah was 10 yards down the field, on the field, screaming at the refs. Um, and listen, the Jets defense played horrendous. The Jets kicker played horrendous. Zach Wilson played very well his first three drives. After that, he went back to looking like a rookie QB. Um, he's still having issues with passes floating on him, which a few floated on him. One was picked off. He's having issues seeing his open receiver. He had one play where I believe it was Elijah Moore open at the back of the end zone. He didn't see him. He took a sack. He had issues, and even in our group text with my friends and my buddy and my cousins, the short passes, he's either not putting enough touch on the ball, he's lasering them out, or he's leading them too far. He's not placing them right. And as a Jet fan, you want that to come in time. Yes, this is only his second start after his injury, where he missed multiple games. Um, you know, did he take a step forward yesterday? I'm going to say he took 2 steps forward. He made the same mistakes that he made in the background, in the back games, in the previous games. So I'm going to say at this point he took a step forward, not a major step. Um, he did not have to, or I should say, a lot of his plays weren't extended plays. So it wasn't like he got out of the pocket and his receiver broke off the route and he found him. He hit the receivers on their routes, which I like. There are going to be times when you have to extend plays. There are going to be times where your receivers have to come back to you and help you. Every quarterback has that. Tom Brady had that. Eli Manning had that. Um, you know, Pat Mahomes has that. Everybody has that. But what you want to have also is your receiver running the routes, your offensive line keeping the pressure off the QB, and then the QB going through his progressions and hitting who he has to hit. They did that, and I was happy with that. Um, I just can't see um, how everybody's just like, oh my God, I said this last week. Right now in the win column, a win is nice, especially if Zach is quarterbacking, not if Flacco's quarterbacking, or if Mike White's quarterbacking, because maybe Mike White could overtake or be on this team next year to be the backup. But do I consider yesterday a win? No, not in a long shot, because Zach had, I'm sorry, 2 touchdowns and an INT. He was 23 of 38 for 226. He averaged 5.9 yards a pass. His rating was 83.9. Now, I really don't look at the rating. Um, I look at completions to attempts, yards, um, the average pass yardage, and any type of scoring. If he would have did this and ran in 2 touchdowns, I'd take that as well. Um, the INT got away from him. The ball floated. That'll come with placement. 23 of 38. He missed on 15 passes, one of them being an INT. I'd like to have seen it be 30 of 38. Complete those 7 other passes. But listen, he is a work in progress. He is a rookie. Uh, this is his 8th start. Um, I personally think because of the quick window with the rookie contract, you want to see what these guys have. You want to put them out there quicker. You want to put them out there sooner. I think the coaching staff and Joe Douglas did him an injustice by not having the um, veteran quarterback on the sidelines with him from August. Josh Johnson is on the practice squad. He's not the veteran quarterback really to say, oh, okay, Josh Johnson's going to show him what to do. Flacco, who I think at this point just wants to play out the rest of his career and then retire, whether he wins or not, or gets a ring riding the bench. And that's just my take. But I also think Flacco is past where he wants to teach a quarterback. He's not. I can remember Mark Brunell teaching Sanchez, tutoring him, mentoring him. Sanchez had a bad, and I remember this on Hard Knocks, or maybe it was scripted. I don't know. But I remember them being mic'd up, and Sanchez had a bad drive, and Brunell went over to him and was like, all right, forget it. We go back out there the next drive. Defense will get the ball back. We go back out there. Zach doesn't have that. The one thing Zach did was to watch the game from up top in the booth on the sidelines when he was injured. But he didn't have that QB sit next to him. No, this is what you want to do. This is how you read that. This is what you should do after this. And that was a big injustice, especially for a rookie QB. Donald had McCown, and I think Donald um, did learn some stuff from McCown. Of course, Donald's career right now is wow, um, far from where anybody thought it would be. But Zach needs something. Zach needs a mentor. Um, and I look back and uh, by no means am I a Giant hater. I'm not a Giant fan. But the way the Giants handled Eli Manning with putting him in, the Giants still were in a wild card chase back in I guess it was 2003. 2000, I forgot what year he was drafted, and they had Kurt Warner, that veteran QB who already went to 2 Super Bowls with the Rams, won one, and they sat him, and they're like, all right, it's time for Eli to take over, and Eli learned from Kurt, and then he came in mid-season and he played out the rest of the season. I think he had 1 win that year towards the end of the season, but I you know, you could say let's run the rookie out, let's see what he does week 1, and he lights it up, and there it is, we got it, you know. And Donald did that. That first week that he played against the Lions on Monday night, um, it was ridiculously uh, optimistic. I mean, yes, his first pass ever went across his body and was returned for a touchdown. But then I think he threw like 3 or 4 touchdowns. He threw for over 300 yards. And you're like, all right, this kid's got it. He's not going to succumb to pressure. He's not going to succumb to anything. But he never really evolved between getting the new coach under Adam Gase for 2 years. Um, he wasn't Joe Douglas's guy. It just never worked out for him. And even in Carolina, when he lost his running game, never worked out for him. And Carolina's in shambles. They just fired their offensive coordinator yesterday. But going back to Zach, and I know I went off on a tangent, but it all comes back to the same theme. The Jets, to me, cannot groom a QB. And that is, you don't get it, you don't pick, they, I believe Mark Sanchez was picked fourth to fifth in the '09 draft. Um, he never was really groomed. He had Brunell, but he never was really groomed. He never had to look over his shoulder and worry about being pulled because Rex believed in the running game more than the passing game, and um, you know, so the only time Mark had any type of controversy was when they drafted Geno Smith, which I thought was a mistake then, and I still believe it. When I brought in Tim Tebow, they never groomed him. Chad Pennington sat the bench. He watched Vinny Testaverde um, play. He learned from a guy who was there, old school, and Chad was very intelligent. Just didn't have the very strong physical attributes. But again, Chad was groomed. He was set. Sanchez was not groomed. Gino was supposed to be a bargain when they got him because they got him so late in the draft. So late. I think it was a second round. He should have been. First, they said he should have been a top 10. Then he should be a first round pick. I don't know. I think the Jets did a an injustice to Zach. They need to bring in a mentor for this kid. They need a QB who's been there, who's been successful, Joe Flacco, but that wants a tune to this kid. That wants to be on the Jets and say, all right, I'm going to have to go behind possibly a very subpar offensive line for a little bit, maybe get my butt whipped around a little bit, but teach this kid and, be part of something special. I don't know if there's QB out there that wants to do that, and later on in their stages of their career. Um, so the Jets went up losing 33-18. Um, so they scored on the first three drives. That was it. And it was funny because, you know, the whole second half now, Zach looked different. The play calling was a little different. Yes, there was, some penalties called or whatnot. But you look back, you say, all right, well, if they have a field goal kicker, it's 21 points. So it's basically a 12-point game. And then if you have a field goal kicker, you're not going for touchdowns, go for it, these these drives where you say, well, okay, let's get in the field goal range if we could, and then kick one because you have no faith in your field goal kicker. So this was all about putting the ball in the end zone, which it should be, but there was no other strategy but that. It was a very sloppy game. The Jet defense did not show up at all. They could not get to Minshew. When they did, they got fined. They got called for a penalty. Um, it's just been a theme this whole year, and I'm just rubbing my eyes because I've been watching it for 40 years plus, and you don't have a complete game. Your defense is there, your offense isn't there. Your offense is there, your defense isn't there. Your offense and defense play together, and yeah, you miss a field goal or you have a punt blocked, or and I'm just waiting for that day, that it's a full game. And again, I go back, and it maybe sound um, cliche-ish, but that last game that they played a full game on all four aspects with the coaching was in Foxborough in that 2010-2011 playoff game, and that's a long time ago. That's going to be 11 years come this January. So to sit back and watch them miss the playoffs yet again, and we knew this was going to happen by mid-October. You know, we knew, by Halloween they were out of it. By Thanksgiving you wanted to know what QB you had, and you didn't. So it's just very very aggravating because you want this team to do so well, especially the fans. And I'm not going to say like just like me point myself out. The fans that follow this team and live and breathe with this team, and people say, "Oh, you're crazy," And I said this before. There's really no choice. Um, I could put on March Madness and say, "Oh, I'm gonna, root for such and such a team." Excuse me. And say, "Oh, they're interested." No, this is a team. When you're a fan of a team, and you can be a Lions fan, which they were going crazy yesterday, a 49er fan, Giant fan, you follow this team from February when the new season calendar begins through free agency, drafting, um, signings, trades, uh, the combine, mini camp, training camp, preseason games, all through it never ends. You know, and yeah, there's those few weeks after the Super Bowl where it's like things kind of calm down and maybe there's some coaching changes, around the league. But other than that, you're always looking for what this team could do. And as a Jet fan who was ironically born 3 years after the Super Bowl, never saw Joe Namath play that I can recall. I think I was 3 or 4 when he retired. I'm not even sure what year he retired. Um, see them go to 4 AFC Championship games and lose them all in. I mean, if you think about the way they lost 4 AFC Championship games, the ones I've seen, the Mud Bowl, 14-0, where they always say that Don Shula didn't want them to cover the field, so it would slow down the offensive passing attack and running game. And then you lost 14-0 on 2 interceptions by AJ Dewey, I believe. The '98 game in Denver, where you had John Elway seeing ghosts basically in his last game in Mile High, and they have a 10-0 lead um, in the third quarter, and they can't put it away. In a game where Curtis Martin, who never fumbles. Keith Byers, sure hands, never drops a ball. Um, just couldn't get it done. 09 against the Colts on that run where they get to the wild card and they beat Cincy 2 weeks in a row and they go to San Diego. That's won 11 in a row and haven't lost at home and they beat them in San Diego and they have a lead in the third quarter um, and they lose to Peyton Manning. And then the following year where they come off and they beat Manning in Indianapolis and they beat the Patriots in Foxborough, and you say, all right, we already beat the Steelers this year in Pittsburgh, and they're down 20, I think it's 24-3, and they come back and they score and they get it within one possession game, and defense can't hold. So that's what I've seen. I know a lot of people have seen that, and we haven't been as there since. And since then, we've been through Sanchez, Gino, Tebow, McCown, Fitzpatrick, McElroy, um, Donald, Flacco, Josh Johnson, Mike White, Flacco, and of course Zach. I want Zach to succeed, not because I like him. I mean, I don't know who he is. I think he's from what I can see, a good kid. He seems to be a team player, but I want him to succeed so the teams can succeed. So weekends tonight, week 13. I can't believe it. Final quarter of the season, playoff spots still up in the air, but you can see who's starting to drop off. The Houston Texans were the first team to be eliminated. I'm thinking the Jets are eliminated now. The Giants are eliminated now. I'm not sure yet mathematically, but tonight, Buffalo, New England. That should be a great game. Um, if anything should happen during the week, I will do a video, but I will, of course, tweet at the takeoff is our Twitter handle. Um, email the Jets takeoff at gmail.com. Our Facebook page is the takeoff. And of course, on this YouTube channel, the takeoff, Alex Paziali. Google it, share it. We were at the game yesterday. What'd you think of Zach? What'd you think of CJ Mosley saying that teams don't respect us, that Fletcher Cox was laughing at Coach Sala when he was yelling that they wouldn't shake hands at midfield during the coin toss. Um, all these things. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Um, and that's it. So, Jet fans, NFL fans, whoever's watching this, have a great week. It's Monday. Um, going into the second week in December, Christmas time. Um, you know, have a blessed week. Have a blessed week. However you want to say it. People say it differently. Stay safe. Stay healthy. And we will have a video up either Thursday night during the Thursday night game or Friday morning previewing the Jets home again versus the Saints. All right. Take care and talk to you soon.